Chapter 16. Shiluo looked at Yu Sui and he gulped. Without saying anything, he turned around and left the conference room. Zhao Feng sent Yu Sui out and Shiluo himself returned to the second team's training room. Just now, when he saw Zhao Feng come over, he only turned off the live broadcast but the game client was still running. Shiluo sat in front of the computer. When he was hesitating between continuing to gather points for his main account or shutting down to sleep, the in-game friend channel glowed with a notification. Shiluo took a look. It was Wawa. Awa, Shijie, can you play a few games with me? Humble.jpg. Awa, Chen Jie said he'd take me to get some points, but after 3 rounds he didn't want to play anymore. He said if he played anymore, he's going to be put out of commission. QAQ. Awa, Shijie, I forced another striker to close shop. The disturbances in Shiluo's mind were cleared instantly. Looking at the chat records, he could feel a headache coming on. When Wawa was still playing as a nurse-type medic, Shiluo liked teaming up with him. Wawa had a good temperament and worked hard to serve as Shiluo's milk tank. He also had good skills. The two would simply abuse their competition as they worked their way up the national server. But after studying Yu Sui's plays, whenever Shiluo would be randomly matched with Wawa, he wanted to retreat. Shiluo wanted to pretend not to have seen it and just go offline, but he'd been sleeping for the entire day and now, he wasn't the least bit sleepy. Shiluo weighed his options. He could lie in bed unable to sleep due to insomnia or he could team up with Wawa. In the end, he still chose the latter. Shiluo replied back in the friends chat. Evil, I'll change to my side account. Wawa responded quickly. Awa, thank you, Shijie. Kowtowing to Shijie. Clang clang clang. Wawa said quickly. Awa, Shijie, is your side account's level high enough? Can your side account team up with me? Shiluo typed. Evil, even my side account is at the top 200 of the national server. What about yours? Is it still in the top 1000? I'm more worried that your main account might not be able to team up with my side account. Wawa kept quiet, and Shiluo changed from his main account to his side one. He sent a message to Wawa. Shiluo has already logged onto his gibberish named side account. JYHBDH's, team up with me. Wawa quickly formed a team with Shiluo. He felt that typing was troublesome so he sent an invitation to voice chat with Shiluo. Shiluo hesitated before accepting. He frowned and said, I'm upset today. I've got nothing good to say. If you want to keep the voice chat on, you can't do a live broadcast. No problem. Wawa happily agreed. He greeted his fans in the live broadcast. That's it for today. I'll be stopping the broadcast now. See you tomorrow night. When his fans in the live broadcast heard that he was teaming up with Shiluo, they all begged him not to close the broadcast. Wawa smiled and consoled his fans with a few words and then shut it down. With the live broadcast off, both of them were a lot more relaxed. Wawa felt that he able to speak a lot more freely and he asked quietly, Shijie, is something the matter? Shiluo was quiet for a moment and then said, what could be the matter? Wawa hesitated and asked, Yu Shen went out earlier tonight. Chen Jie said he went looking for you. Did you two talk? Shiluo lit a cigarette. After a while, he said, it shouldn't be more than a month before the official announcement. Wawa breathed out a sigh of relief. That's good in #K 2026. Seriously, although I heard that there were some not so good things that happened between you and Yu Shen before, his new team would definitely be a lot stronger than IAC. The two entered the map. While covering Shiluo and their other striker teammate with the primary shield, he said, I heard our captain say that when you transferred, he didn't really recommend that you go to IAC. I agree with the captain. How do I say this? This kind of purely commercial club never feels right. Shiluo took a puff of his cigarette and slowly said, they each have their pros and cons. It's troubling at times, but I kind of like IAC. Wawa asked, what? Shiluo said, it's relaxing. Wawa's head was full of question marks. How can it be relaxing? You don't even have a friend you can confide in. Especially that manager of yours. Whatever, this isn't a live broadcast and you'll be leaving soon anyway, so I'm going to just come right out and say it. How can you relax with that kind of manager? During the playoffs last year, it was the quarterfinals already, and even though it was the day before the knockout match, he organized a meet and greet with the fans. Each ticket was worth more than 1,000 yuan and there were hundreds of fans. He made a killing that day and even spewed out some pretty words, saying that this was to let the fans give you encouragement. He really is just a seeking marketer. Wawa couldn't believe it. And it was on the day before the knockout match. As your opponents, do you know how happy we were at NSN when we heard the news? We thought we'd definitely knock your guys out. Cough, although, in the end, you guys did completely thrash us. But I'm sure it affected your condition, right? Shiluo admitted. It did affect us. We didn't make it to the finals, that may have been part of the reason. Wawa said scornfully. That's why I don't like him. He doesn't treat you players like people at all. Even a tool wouldn't be used like that. There's been so many instances like that. I can't even count them. So, how is that relaxing? Let me ask you. Shiluo loaded the bullets and marked a dot on the map. If your manager did the same thing, what would you do? Wawa instinctively defended their manager who treated him like his own son. Impossible. Our manager never tormented us like that. We only do a few activities per year and they're all during the off-season. Shiluo held the cigarette between his lips. I said, if. How would you feel? Wawa hesitated. Really disappointed. I'd be really, really sad. Shiluo said, look, I wouldn't be sad. No matter how this club seeking operates, you'd only be angry but not disappointed. Shiluo said, trust me, angry is 10,000 times better than disappointed. Shiluo assisted in getting Wawa a kill. Everyone doesn't bring emotions into it. They join if they join and leave if they leave. Both parties can feel at ease. So I have no complaints about IAC. Wawa was quiet for a moment and whispered, did I mention something that I shouldn't have again? Shiluo smiled. You think I'm talking about myself? About when I left FS? I'm really not. Wawa didn't quite understand. What else could it be about? Wawa recalled what had gone on in the club last night. He was dying of curiosity. It was digging into his heart and scratching at his insides. But he didn't dare ask. The two made idle conversations. After playing 2 games, Wawa left for a while, and Shiluo waited for him while playing on his mobile phone. After a while, Wawa returned and whispered, Yu Shen's back. He went back to his room. As though he hadn't heard, Shiluo said, let's keep playing. Wawa agreed. After a while, Wawa asked in a low voice, Shijie, I have a question to ask, but I'm afraid you'll hit me if I do. Ask ba. Shiluo remained indifferent. What question would I be afraid of? Wawa hummed and hawed for a long time. He kept his voice very, very low. Shijie, are you and Yu Shen together? Shiluo heard him and went quiet for a couple of seconds. He asked, what do you mean by together? Wawa lowered his voice even further. I mean, like that, you understand. Shiluo laughed. Wawa was terribly frightened. Sorry, pretend I didn't ask. Shiluo asked, why would you want to ask this? Just, Wawa said in a quivering tone of voice, I follow the super topics for a lot of players, and I log in every day so, I recently saw the super topic for you and Yu Shen. There was a lot of stuff there that I didn't know were true or not. I remembered how you two were last night and I got this really outrageous idea. Before Wawa finished speaking, Shiluo said, no, we're not. Wawa said blankly, you never were. Shiluo said, never. Wawa relaxed. That's good. Otherwise, this really would be too dog-blood dramatic. But, Wawa couldn't control his excitement, and eagerly asked, Shijie, can I ask another question? Shiluo resigned himself to being magnanimous and candid. There was nothing he couldn't answer. Ask away. Wawa tried his best to suppress his voice and asked, someone in the super topics also said that Chen Jie and Yu Shen were together before. Is that true? Shiluo. This narrative gradually turned into a thriller and suspense. Shiluo suddenly wanted to go see what kind of effing super topics these were. Without waiting for Shiluo to answer, Wawa whispered once again, actually, it started when everyone was discussing whether Yu Shen has had a girlfriend these past years. After gossiping for a long time, none of them found any traces of one. Then they started to gossip about you and found you were even more abstinent. Not just female friends, you don't even a lot of male friends. The one who'd come closest would probably already be me. Then they stared, pairing up the two of us. Iya, that article they wrote could really embarrass someone to death. Shiluo had on a complicated expression. Skip this article, ba. Okay. Wawa continued. Then someone said, things were actually unclear between you and Chen Huo too. Stop. Shiluo's head hurt. I'd rather have an affair with you. Skip this too. Wawa quickly agreed. Okay, I'm getting to the important part. Then, there was an old fan of FS's who made allegations that Chen Jie and Yu Shen were a pair. The reason being that, Yu Shen's first kiss was from Chen Shen. She said FS had a party before that went well into the night. The next day, Chen Shen opened a live broadcast and joked that Yu Shen's first kiss was gone. Seems like Chen Shen drank a lot then, and then, news was passed around quite a lot. Wawa didn't dare to ask, but he couldn't help it. So, is it true or not? Are they kidding her? In the game, Shiluo destroyed the opponent's resurrection stone. He said, do you believe all these sensationalist gossip in the super topics? Wawa hesitated. Well, she described it in very vivid details, you know. She even knew where the party was. I'll go to your NSN's super topics tomorrow. I'll say that Captain GU actually has ulterior motives towards you. I'll describe it very vividly. Do you think some of your fans would believe it too? Shiluo laughed. Or I could go to Chen Huo's super topics later and tell them Chen Huo got smashed yesterday and was part of a drunken sex party. You think someone would believe me? Wawa let out a snort and laughed until his stomach hurt. Shiluo exited the map. Stop looking at these things so much. They're all stupid. Shiluo and the Wawa teamed up for the whole night. At 2 a.m., Wawa couldn't hold on and went to sleep. Shiluo logged off the game and looked at the computer screen in a daze. What that old fan said hadn't been untrue. But some of the details were wrong. 2 years ago Yu Sui was admitted to the hospital on his birthday because of acute gastric hemorrhage. Naturally, the long-prepared birthday party was cancelled. 1 month later, everyone in FS made a birthday party for Yu Sui. It was Yu Sui's birthday party, but it was Yu Sui who arrived last. Everyone was bored, and under Puppy's urgings, they played Truth or Dare. Shiluo was unlucky and lost at the start of the game. Chen Huo dared him to drink, but at that time, Shiluo wouldn't touch a drop of alcohol and wouldn't drink no matter what. Chen Huo then gave a different dare. Shiluo was even more unwilling. But everyone in FS jeered and booed. Shiluo couldn't help being a little bit pressured. When he was forced beyond his limit, Yu Sui suddenly entered the room. With Yu Sui's face still pale, Shiluo was half forced to kiss him. Chen Huo's new dare was to find someone to kiss. Shiluo still remembers Yu Sui's surprised expression at that time. After the two kissed that day, the whole private room went into a frenzy. Chen Huo never expected that Yu Sui would come in at just the right moment. After laughing until he was half dead, Chen Huo said that this was definitely Yu Sui's first kiss. Their teammates laughed until their sides hurt. They couldn't wait to post on Weibo and tell Yu Sui's fans that their whisper was no longer untouched land. Yu Sui wiped the corner of his mouth with his thumb and then turned to ask Shiluo if this was his first kiss. At that time, Shiluo watched as the crowd laughed wildly at Yu Sui. A young man's inexplicable sense of shame suddenly reared its head. He straightened his flushed neck and said, "Of course not." Yu Sui was dazed. Then, he laughed and picked up a cushion and hit Shiluo. When this old matter got passed on, because it came out of Chen Huo's mouth, the story gradually changed until he became the protagonist. Truth and fiction, it all became unclear.